Hello, my name is Abby Hawes, and today I will be presenting on the Harvard Pilgrim healthcare data breach that had occurred in March and April of 2023, with repercussions occurring all the way out into 2024 and today. I chose this particular breach because of its impact and because of the demonstration that it provides on the impact that healthcare data and its lack of protection can have on its insured and the company that insures them. Now, for this analysis, there's a couple of terms that you're going to need to know, particularly protected health information, or PHI, ransomware, and identity theft that we have already discussed in class, but also what is a class action lawsuit, with how this concept is so integral to this case in particular and the repercussions of this case. We're going to have a pretty solid definition of this as well. So, protected health information, this is sensitive identifying information that the federal law, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA, declares the protection of by healthcare professionals. This is essentially referring to any place where we are dealing with healthcare data, whether that be in a hospital with patients and with their caretakers, or as a data analyst, data scientist that is looking at that data in a cubicle. Either way, we're making sure that only the involved individuals, only those with HIPAA training and who have been specifically cleared to look at that data, are accessing it. And that's not spoken about in any way with family, colleagues, or friends. Ransomware, this is another term that we're all pretty familiar with. At this point, this is software that black hat hackers use to block a user from accessing their system until they pay the hacker some sum of money. This could be a software that was developed by the one placing that ransomware on some other user, or it could be bought by another software developer on the black web. Identity theft is another common term that we've heard in this class and refers to the fraudulent use of personally identifying information involving a variety of techniques when it comes to the information retrieval. Any use of that personally identifying information, whether it is completely creating a new identity with the SSN or just using some credit card information. It's all identity theft, and there's, again, a lot of different ways to retrieve that information, whether it be social engineering or phishing or any other number of techniques. The class action lawsuit, this is going to be an important term for our analysis, is a type of civil lawsuit filed by a group of people or entities because of damages inflicted by misconduct by the defendant. In this case in particular, we're going to be looking at 4 different cases that were filed with similar claims against the Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare Group and their parent company, Point32 Health. Now, with those key terms in mind, let's discuss the initial incident and what actually happened. So, this event was initially caught on April 17th of 2023 when the Boston Hospital's internal cybersecurity team identified the ransomware. An external team that they had hired to help them address the situation later found it was attached by exploiting a file transport tool on March 28th, 2023, when their systems had initially been taken down and the information had started to be collected from their own files, and that PHI was exposed. Now that we have a solid foundation for us to analytically tear apart the parties involved, let's get into the details of their incident management. To lay out the timeline with the response gaps, on March 28th of 2023, the Black Hat hackers had attached the ransomware via a file transport tool, where it stayed there collecting data until April 17th. They had hired an external cybersecurity firm after this point, on April 17th, when they'd found the ransomware, to help them return their systems to a functioning status. On May 23rd, Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare's parent company, Point32 Health, made a statement. According to Andrea Fox with Healthcare IT News, the data of more than 2.5 million members was compromised in the attack. Because they didn't have access to insurer PHI, they decided not to inform any of their insured, despite knowing more than 2.5 million were exposed in the initial incident. With that many members at risk out of their 2.7 million, it is incomprehensible that they would hesitate to inform their members, while their social security number could already have a sold sign slapped on it on the black web. When the parent company asked Harvard Pilgrim Health to push this information out on May 23rd, their consumers filed suit. In response to the press release, 4 class action lawsuits were brought against Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and their parent company, Point 32 Health, with the claim that they were negligent, breached their contract, breached their fiduciary duty, and experienced unjust enrichment for failing to protect personal information against the cyber attack. Receiving this information from an article posted over a year later, as consumers are still feeling the impacts. Point 32 Health has also made statements, including, "We have made significant progress in bringing our systems back online and processing various business transactions." Point 32 Health spokesperson Kathleen Michaela said in a statement to the Harvard University publication. She reportedly noted that information sharing with partners has resumed, and more core functions will be coming back online in the weeks ahead. Our primary focus during recovery is to make sure members and our customers receive the care and services they need as quickly and as safely as possible. In my incident management analysis, I found that with nearly half of their insured possibly at risk, they had a responsibility to inform their customers closer to the incident. While they attempted to offer credit monitoring services after they were able to identify and notify the victims, they left a clear gap where they were still at risk for all different kinds of identity theft with their social security number and other personal information, which did in fact happen. Part of why those suits are coming forward. After their internal cybersecurity team identified the breach, they turned to hire an external cybersecurity group to assess and assist them in addressing their ransom. This indicates to me that they either need better training and maintenance, or it speaks to the quality of the ransomware. For the purpose of our industry-wide assessment, and my understanding that healthcare already has some trouble with cybersecurity, I'm going to lean towards the former. As I concluded my research into this incident, I found other incidents that the company has had to manage that brought me to this very important point: growth. As I analyzed, I looked at an incident that occurred a little under a year later that I found was handled with greater care and transparency than the first incident. Their team grew and used the incident to sharpen their skills. There were a few crucial mistakes that I believe they grew from: their lack of transparency and their incident response, and specifically the speed of it. I found their informing of their customers of the breach when they weren't directly impacted the second time around to be cautionary and responsible, so that their members felt as if they could go to their healthcare provider to report those potential cases of identity theft that would indicate some sort of data breach in Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare's own company, or Point 32 Health. The first time around, their patients and consumers were left unjustly vulnerable. The incident response also improved by my standards, as it took a month to get systems back up the second time, while the press release for the second incident had resources for the first posted with it. That's how you know it's bad. With the company needing to hire external help in the event of this particular incident, I'm under the impression that they did not take their security as seriously as they should have, considering that 2.7 of 2.5 million indicates that they lost over 90% of their patients' data. I have a fun little graphic exploring the world of healthcare not caring about cybersecurity in a format that I hope that we're all familiar with. Healthcare desperately needs to pay more attention to cybersecurity. This reads to me, in some sense, as a classic tale of, excuse my language, fuck around, find out. To put that in more professional terms, the company hadn't developed a detailed enough ITIL for their incident response and suffered the first time around. When another incident occurred more than a year later in 2024, they were clear with the involved parties and later told members about the incident while informing them that their data was not compromised in the breach, to give them the peace of mind. In addition, their incident management was faster, of course, having gone down so much quicker, indicating that ITIL response had improved. In addition, the fact that there's less articles online would also indicate that we had less problems the second time around. Right now, the case is still coming to its conclusion and being processed, but I will be looking for updates. Overall, I learned a lot in this project, and I am happy to support cybersecurity in healthcare and making sure that our patients' data is safe, no matter the circumstance. Here are some of my works cited. Thank you for listening, and if you go ahead and close this up, I will be able to answer some questions. Thank you, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.